There was a farmer named Jonah who owned a small garden just on the edge of town. It wasn't anything grand, just a few rows of tomatoes, herbs, and root vegetables. But it was his. After years working under someone else's clock, the garden was his quiet rebellion, his return to a simpler kind of life. Each morning, just after the sun began to rise, he would slip on his boots, fill his watering can, and walk the rows slowly, greeting each plant like an old friend. The tomatoes, always the most stubborn. The carrots, hidden but faithful. The scent of rosemary in the breeze. It was work, yes, but it didn't feel like labor. It felt like coming home. Then came a dry spell. At first, Jonah wasn't worried. Every season has a dry spell, he told himself. But as the soil cracked and the leaves began to sag, something cracked in him too. He started waking earlier, checking 3 different weather forecasts before sunrise, and he'd stare at the sky for long periods as if willing clouds into existence. He worried while watering. He worried while eating. He worried when the wind changed directions, and when it didn't. The anxiety seeped into every part of him, like a slow poison. His thoughts were consumed by worst-case scenarios: crops failing, money gone, the dream crumbling into dust. He played those fears on repeat, like scenes from a sad film he couldn't stop watching. One morning, after another cloudless night, Jonah sat at the edge of his garden. Slumped forward, elbows on his knees, the watering can beside him untouched. "You look like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders." Jonah was startled by the voice. It came from an old man walking his dog on the other side of the wooden fence. He looked as though he'd been standing there for some time. Jonah let out a bitter laugh and gestured to the beds. "It won't rain," he said. "I don't know what else to do." The old man nodded, his face thoughtful. "I've been around long enough to know one thing for sure," he said. "Worry doesn't make the rain come faster. You've watered. You've cared for it. You've done your part. But worry? All it does is dry you out while you wait." Then he tipped his hat, gave the leash a gentle tug, and continued down the path. Jonah sat still for a long time. He felt a breeze. A crow called out from a tree. The old man's words circled in his head like ripples in a pond. He looked at his garden. Not perfect, not thriving, but not gone either. It was still here, still trying. So he picked up the watering can and began again. Slower this time, quieter. Not because he believed it would force the rain to come, but because he remembered something important. Tending to his garden, not worrying, was what made him feel alive. 3 days later, it finally rained. Jonah's story is a simple reminder. Worrying doesn't change the weather. It just drains his happiness in life while we wait. If this short story made you pause and think, hit subscribe for more stories like this.